Greetings, welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. Today I'm going to explore the annual Aries full moon, also known as a harvest moon, which this year occurs across the 6th or the 7th of October, depending on location. Shortly on screen I'll share the exact timings for all the major cities of the world. Full moons can be intense, they can push into the open for good or bad. And if we go back to the last lunation, the solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, which is going to be providing a backdrop for the next 6 months, but was in a very testing opposition with Saturn, the planet of limitation, we get an idea on this full moon over the next 2 weeks of influence, exactly how things are going. Now, the sign of Aries is an fire sign, it's ruled by Mars, it's very much about passion, but it's also about our identity. The opposite sign of the Zodiac, where the Sun resides, is Libra, which is very much about balance, equilibrium, but also how we relate and find harmony in situations. But the sign of Aries is about that individuality. So what an Aries full moon reminds us of is about our relationships. Are we in some ways losing our identity by being too much of a people pleaser in the wrong kind of relationship? Or do we need to set our boundaries a little bit more firmly if we have got some people taking us for granted? Or do we need to work harder at those relationships and master our ego a little bit better and become more conscious of what other people's needs are? So those are the big themes. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. I'm going to share with you the exact degree of this event, the sub-rulership of the second decan of the sign of Aries, which is the Sun, all about the fixed star which applies to this event, which can be very positive. But I'm going to share with you the weakness of the moon in Aries, but also the weakness of the Sun in Libra from a technical viewpoint. I'm going to share with you also on screen the event charts, so from a natal but also solar perspective. The natal perspective is the exact time this event occurs based on universal Greenwich and the prime meridian, because I feel we can all relate to that wherever we are in the world. And the intriguing thing is the Sun is in house 2 and the moon in house 8, very much about attachment. What's that about? If we look at things from a solar perspective, which we can all collectively relate to, of course, the Sun is in 7 and the moon in 1. But what are the other planetary players feeding in to the exact position of the full moon? Because we can think about full moons in isolation, but if we don't take account of the other moving planets in the sky at the moment, we're not really getting a full picture. I'm then going to go through each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces to give you a flavour of what you can expect in terms of your ascendant, sun or the moon. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel, a very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please help it to continue to thrive and do so now. Please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. Now my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So this particular event occurs across the 6th or the 7th of October. On the screen now is the exact timings of those major cities. And you can see that LA and New York are on the 6th. Everywhere else on the 7th. But at 14 degrees and 8 minutes, we're right at the midpoint of the 30 degrees of the sign of Aries. And that's sub-ruled by the magnificence of the Sun. So let's think about the Sun. The Sun is the king. It's the life force we all depend upon. But the Sun, ironically, in Libra is in its fall. It's not its absolute weakest point of its journey. That's the sign of Aquarius, where it's in detriment. But in fall in Libra, we have to speak up, we have to assert what we need, but particularly in terms of that fairness, being heard, because it's an air sign. It's all about communication, but communication where we get that balance, but also where relationships feel right. We feel there's a good flow of give and take. Well, I feel the Aries full moon, where the moon is peregrine, so it's not influenced by any essential dignity, so not the strongest point for the moon either. Well, I feel the Aries full moon, because Aries is the sign of initiation, it's about it's about the rawness of ourselves. It's where we're trying to start our journey, but the moon is our environment, it's our inner world. If we don't really feel heard in a key relationship we have at the moment, this is going to make the issues around that relationship come much more sharply into focus. But relationships take on many different guises. It can be within the family, neighbour, friendship, colleagues, whatever type of relationship we are having, even the relationship with ourselves, getting that nice balance between what we need as an individual and what we need from others, are prepared to give, but what they expect from us is the critical thing. So that's what this full moon's about over the next 2 weeks. But if we go back to the solar eclipse of 2 weeks ago, in the sign of Aries, if you remember, the second essential new moon of the season of Virgo, very much about making sure things are running efficiently, that there is a degree of virtue in our situation. So in terms of that Virgoan energy, particularly as it was blocked off by the cool Saturn and relationships, I think one of the things that could come up on this full moon is if there is someone or several people at home who tend to take one person for granted, particularly around those domestic chores, very Virgoan. It's time to speak up. And of course, Libra can be very diplomatic. The fieriness of the moon in Aries is pushing us to find our voice. But you know, if we're doing too much at work, someone's taken us for granted, we're being a good egg, but it's no good being an exhausted battery hen. So it's all about the give and take between where we connect, set boundaries, and have appreciative interactions, and where we also feel fulfilled as an individual. So if that's out of kilter, that's what we need to work on over this next 2 weeks. Now, I mentioned about a fixed star. It's Alpha-Rats, which is a very positive fixed star, and it's very close to the original position of Alpha-Rats. It's pretty well conjunct exactly this moon. And that has a vibe of Venus and Jupiter, which of course are the planets of fortune. And it really pushes us, that fixed star, to embrace our individuality. And if we are getting too caught up in being too worried about what other people think, that's another clue of how we can work with this particular full moon to reset our position. So in simple terms, we need to trumpet our individuality, yet at the same time stay mindful of our connections to others. So if we're someone who's so caught up in our own needs that we're not very aware of how other people feel, they're going to tell us over the next 2 weeks. But equally, if you're more of a giver, more attuned to other people, don't forget it's important to do what's right for you first. So that's where we are. I'd just like to tell you about my unique personal horoscope offer. You can order your forecast transits for 2026 now and get the rest of year 2025 free. But also in my 30% off package, you'll get your life roadmap report. This will give you searing insights to the patterns that have played out in your life so far, understanding that better and using it in tandem with the transits is a very effective tool to plan your moves in the months ahead. But in that package, you'll also get my free gifts of your year 2026 Zodiac General, Love, Chinese and Indian forecast booklets. Please see below for more. So let's look at those event charts for this event. So on the screen now, I'm sharing the natal event chart. So the natal event chart based on Greenwich and the prime meridian and universal sees the Sun in House 2. House 2 is very much about our values, and the Moon's in House 8 where we connect with others. And therefore there's a paradox, because the Moon in the sign of Aries is pushing us to be more mindful of our individual needs, but in the 8th house it could also give us a more psychic perception, but also make us much more conscious of anything to do with finances. So for example, if we feel a bit trapped into a situation, attached, and our relationship needs are not being met, that may be something we need to be conscious of. The great thing about this event chart, however, is the position of the midheaven to the Sun. The Sun is a communicational sign. The midheaven in Gemini is about communication. If we need to communicate something, then we need to do so, and we need to do so skillfully, which can be a Libran quality. It's just that the planet of communication, Mercury, has just moved out of the sign of Libra and is clashing with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So what we might encounter over the next couple of weeks, even if we speak up for ourselves, or even if someone speaks up against us, we could encounter someone who's pretty vocal, but maybe in a very pointed way, but perhaps also a rather dogmatic way. So the relationship issue that could come up based on the event chart natal may see some conversations about money, could be about who contributes or shares what. It may be about attraction in terms of a relationship situation. If there is a lack of magnetism, particularly with Venus, the ruler of the sign of Libra, the dispositor, in an awkward opposition with the North Node, which peaked a couple of days ago, that may have brought up some nitpicking, some irritations, perhaps some intolerance around any kind of involvement. So this full moon over the next couple of weeks, we may have to stand up for what we feel is rightly ours, but particularly if we feel there's not much affection, not much intimacy, not an alignment over values. All of those things can come up from the natal event chart. But it is very important to look at it from a solar perspective, because that helps us to understand more the zodiacal view. So on the screen now we have the ascendant at 0 degrees on the vernal point of Aries, and that of course puts the moon in the first house, about that individual identity. And there's the Sun in house 7, very much about relationships. But you can see that Venus, the planet which rules the sign of Libra, drops into 6th, makes sense, in Virgo, and that potential for intolerance comes to the fore. But what about the ruler of the sign of Aries? Well, that's Mars, and you can see Mars is in Scorpio, the other sign it rules, so the dispositor of the moon in Scorpio, very intense, very passionate, so that's intriguing too. The one good thing that we can take from this event, and it's a very, very good thing, is that Jupiter, the planet of growth, optimism and higher purpose through its rulership of Pisces, is exalted in the sign of Cancer and is in a lovely link with the ruler of the sign of Libra, Venus, and that can actually be very lucky. So you could encounter someone over the next couple of weeks who actually really makes your pulse race. And the key here is the moon in Aries can nudge us to have the confidence to take a step forwards to share how we feel, because sometimes, however much we're drawn to someone, taking that first cosmic step can be quite challenging, as we all know, because we're perhaps a little concerned that the other person won't like us, doesn't feel the same. It's a nervous old time. But I feel if there is someone who's making your pulse race, that Venus-Jupiter sextile gives you a push to have the confidence to go for it. Please stay with me as I go through each of the 12 signs, but just to say, if you would like to work with me directly, please check out my testimonials on screen and also below. And if you'd like to order your year 2026 personal unique forecast, your transit, you can get the rest of this year free if you order now. You also get 30% off if you choose to order your life roadmap report too. So it's a package. Please see below for more. So Aries, this particular annual full moon is very resonant for you, being in your sign. Let's think about the basic characteristics of Aries. You like to take the initiative. You like to feel invested in a situation. Passion's important to you. In all sorts of connections, if there's a lack of those energies going on, it's going to give you food for thought, this event. But one of the things it can do is give you extra confidence to set your boundaries, to know when to say no. It's just that the solar eclipse, which occurred a couple of weeks ago, was affected by the leaden energy of Saturn in quite a psychological part of your scope. If your physical vitality has felt lower recently, you may have found yourself just going along with certain people because finding that extra resources to speak up may have proved a little challenging. But do say what doesn't work for you. But equally, because of the sun still being in your 7th house of relating, if there is a person or situation that intrigues you, the moon in your sign is giving you a nudge to have the confidence to take that step forwards. What about your ruler? Well, Mars is in the very deep 8th house, which is very much about desire. So if there is someone who's on your cosmic radar, I think that person, as October goes on, will become much more difficult to resist. But if you're in an existing relationship, just know that we are going to see Venus, the relator and the ruler of the sign of Libra, towards the end of week commencing the 6th of October, going face to face with Saturn. So if you aren't really enjoying it in a current time, it does feel it drains you of a lot of energy. You don't really feel appreciated, seen or adored, which is important. I think you've got a big decision to make over this next fortnight. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Taurus, this particular Aries full moon is a call to action for you to consider how your daily routines, obligations and responsibilities are impacting on your inner world. If you're enjoying your work, helping others, great, you're going to thrive. If you're not enjoying things so much, things feel out of kilter, maybe you feel a little bit more depleted in terms of your emotional energy. The fact that Venus, the ruler of the sign of Libra and also your ruler, is in a brilliant location on this event for you personally, forging a super link to Jupiter, the planet of plenty. What you can do over the next 2 weeks, if things have become too workaday, people are relying upon you too much, is give yourself explicit permission to go out and have some fun. That could be getting together with a group of friends, having a jolly social, going on a date. It may be that at home you can change things up a little bit. Let other people know that maybe they can carry the load a little bit. They can do the shopping, do some of the domestic chores. Put your feet up, watch a good film, read a book, do something much more fun and therapeutic for you. And that way you can work with this full moon in a very positive way. But if you are feeling that life's a bit of a drudgery, or you're not really enjoying your work, or where you work has an atmosphere and there are politics, find ways to break out, and that may mean taking action. But the great news, Taurus, is that Mercury, the planet of communication, has moved into your sector of relationships. You have the feisty Mars there. The Sun's arriving later in October, and I assure you, as October goes on, this more practical dimension, which seems to be dominating at the moment, will make way for a time when you're going to be connecting and sparking with others in a very exciting manner. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Gemini, this particular year's Aries full moon is intriguing. Each year when it occurs for you, it can often be an opportunity to try to balance your time, particularly with the demands of other people who want a piece of you, which is very gratifying. But I feel recently, as much as you may have had some social interaction, there has been some weighty influences around home and family matters, perhaps even around your work. Also, Mercury, your ruler, has just moved into a much more precise part of your situation. As October develops, practicalities are going to come into the fore. What you can do is use your quick wits, your imagination, your charisma to engage with any of those routines or demands in an imaginative and sparky way, and that's where this particular full moon can help you. So it's saying to you, particularly around your future plans, it's important to embrace your individual talents, but who you spend time with, I think there's a bit more of a serious vibe this year than there has been in the past. The great news, however, is that with Jupiter and Venus in such a great link as this event occurs, there may be a slice of financial fortune that's going to come your way. And because the fifth house, where the sun is, can be about speculation, as long as you really do and scrutinise the details of any ideas you've got, it could well pay off for you. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Cancer, your key mission in life is always to nurture, protect, whether it be physically or emotionally in terms of your security. The sun's journey through the sign of Libra amplifies that energy, but of course Libra is about balance, but it's also about communication. But communication may not have been so outward recently as much as you thinking and perusing very carefully about what you need, perhaps about where you live, maybe about close relationships, perhaps about some deeply personal issues. But Mercury, the planet of thought, has just moved into a much more outgoing, playful, even mischievous part of your chart. I can assure you that whatever happens on this full moon, which may require you to realign, there may be some kind of reset between your worldly interactions and your inner needs, and it could feel like it's a bit of a challenge. But once you get beyond it, you're given a golden pathway to doing something which is much more going to feed your soul purpose. The reason for that is that Jupiter in your sign, the planet of opportunity, is priming up this event with Venus. These are the two planets of fortune. A conversation you have over the next 2 weeks can be very revelatory. It may require a reset, but whatever happens, even if a door shuts, another one's going to spring open that's going to be much more suitable for you. It's important to feel comfortable in life with what we're doing, even professionally. Atmospheres is something you have a particular perception around. But as the month of October unfolds, you're going to be coming out of this more inward, thoughtful phase, feeling much more dynamic, much more on the front foot, and a new beginning can be sparked, which is truly exciting. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. Leo, the Aries full moon is in your fellow fire sign. The ninth house energy is very much to do with truth, freedom, independence. If you do feel a bit locked in to some of the belief systems, for example, that may have been shared with you when you were very much younger. You could find over the next couple of weeks that you're in the mood to reinvigorate your whole outlook. It could mean cutting the cord on some of those ideas and evolving somewhat. But also the third, ninth house axis of this particular event can be about movement, can be about holidaying, can be about freeing yourself up somehow. So it's not just freeing up how we think, it could be about freeing up how you physically feel. So being a bit more active, moving around more, perhaps stepping up your exercise routines. But because of the developing energy as October goes on in your home and emotional part of your scope, and also Jupiter and Venus being in contact on this event, something could come up to do with a past effort, experience, knowledge, contact, which brings you a real breakthrough when it comes to your finances. And it may require you traveling with your work, doing something to do with retraining. It may be that if you're involved in technology, publishing, the media in any way, there's going to be a new opportunity for you. You could work from home, but you may have to relocate, and that's going to be something you'll need to carefully consider. But being a fixed sign, you can have an appreciation of continuity, which is a really good thing. But sometimes in life it's also very important to be really flexible. And that flexibility of thought, of movement, of ideas and connections with people is the critical thing for you over the next 2 weeks. Now my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Virgo, each year with the Aries full moon, it's a nudge to think about your ins and outgoings when it comes to expenses. It is possible with an Aries full moon that you could get like an insurance renewal but that you'd forgotten about. Maybe there will be a cost that comes up, but do think about the ways you can tease out some more economies. That's where you can use your attention to detail in a very positive way. But this year's particular Aries full moon is blessed by Venus, the planet of money, being in your sign and forging a stunning link to the planet of luck, Jupiter, in the part of your scope to do with good fortune, the 11th house. Something you do that's different, fresh, inventive, particularly with Mercury, your ruler, having moved into the fast moving third house, your mind's going to be stepping up a gear. I feel that you can make this full moon this year work for you in a very productive way. A mix of that attention to detail, but also being aware of opportunities by reading things, analysing, see where you can find an angle that other people aren't thinking about. So if you are wanting to do something more creative, imaginative, perhaps even have a flutter, I think this particular full moon this year holds more potential for an upside than a downside. Now my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Libra, each year with the Aries full moon, it's a time when you can get feedback on how other people have been feeling about anything you've been focusing hard on recently. Because when the sun's in our sign, it's a call to action, to be very passionate and committed to the things that inspire us. So whether you've been doing something creatively, whether it's to do with your work, if you have really had to work extra hours and be very committed, someone may feel a little left out. But sometimes in life, if we want to seize a prize, we really have to put that much effort in. And over the next few weeks, I feel you can get a reward. And particularly because although your ruler Venus is in a more secluded location at the moment, on this event forges a stunning link to Jupiter, the planet of luck, in the part of your chart to do with worldly interaction. Your diplomacy, your quiet soundings, the research you've been doing, building up what you're doing step by step can give you a return, particularly later in October when some kind of significant financial breakthrough is truly possible for you. In the meantime, if someone does feel you've been neglecting them, of course you can reach out, connect with them, have a good chat, understand where they're coming from, but you may also need to share with them why you've been caught up on that recent project or plan, because it's so important to you. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Scorpio, over the last couple of weeks you may have been feeling a little bit delicate. Nothing wrong with that. You may have wanted to spend a bit more time alone, maybe thinking deeply about some of the strands in your life. You may have been very nostalgic too. There could be something of a practical nature that the full moon just nudges you to attend to over the next couple of weeks, and it might be something you're a bit reluctant to engage with to begin with, but with Mercury having just moved into your sign, joining up with your traditional ruler Mars on the 20th and the Sun arriving in Scorpio on the 23rd, as October goes on, you're going to come out of this reflective phase and move into a very dynamic one. Also, if there are people around you who really get you, you don't have to explain yourself. If you feel a bit quiet or reflective, they're still there for you. And those friends can be a very hearty influence over the next couple of weeks for you too. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. Sagittarius, I feel over the last couple of weeks your mind has been very much on your future plans, your direction in life, perhaps also your connections with others, your network. The moon in Aries is just a prompt really to make sure that whatever you're involved with at the moment helps you to showcase your passion. Very, very important. But if you have been working hard in terms of that future plan around your work, some kind of breakthrough is definitely possible with your ruler Jupiter and Venus, two planets of fortune on this event, aligning magnificently, and it could have a financial dimension. But when it comes to friendships and socializing, in fact, over the next few weeks, I feel you're going to become more picky and want to spend time with people that you feel a real affinity with, because one of the lessons of Saturn making its way through Pisces over the last couple of years, going to be rejoined by Neptune on the 22nd of this month, is I feel that you're much more aware of the need to be protective about your inner emotional world, even if you can be very gregarious when you're on top form. So you're entering a period of the year when you may want to just step back a little bit and become much more conscious of the people who could be fair weather friends. But when it comes to that long-term plan, if it is linked to business and your passion is in it, some kind of big breakthrough does await for you. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Capricorn, you have a real appreciation of working hard and diligently towards your goals and ambitions. Over the last couple of weeks, with the Sun and Mercury showcased in the most visible part of your scope, the 10th house, which is very much to do with our connection to the wider world, but also an echo of the energies of Capricorn, You may have been building up some important alliances and connections, networking, because the host Libra is about communication, but it can be about partnership. However, the full moon in the more emotional fourth house just asks you to check out that your support structures, your home and emotional life isn't being too neglected by some of these demands. But I have to say, on this particular year's full moon, a glittering set of influences is very positive for you. Jupiter and Venus, the two planets of fortune, are linking magnificently. Also, Mercury has moved into the part of your scope to do with the collective, networking, friendships, where Mars is too. As October goes on, I feel as long as you've got that balance, you are making sure that your emotional, home and family needs are being met. There's lots of scope for the energy that's been building up, the traction that's been building up recently to actually increase, and in a very dynamic but also very positive way. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. Aquarius, each lunation has its own unique identity. Broadly, the Aries full moon is about the exchange of ideas. Aries is a passionate planet. The moon is about our emotions. You could find that you are a bit more triggered about some of your ideas over the next couple of weeks, particularly if you exchange views with people who have very different philosophies to you. But if you are wanting to channel your skill as a communicator towards your professional situation, the rest of October can be a very powerful time for you. You may find that your profile is increased, you're going to connect with more people, you could find yourself in a very important discussion which could be linked to business or a career development. So choosing language is very evocative. A little bit of diplomacy, that Libran energy may be very helpful. Doesn't mean to say you can't still be sincere, but there are some very positive vibes on this particular full moon. So whatever you're thinking about, discussing or working towards, your chance to receive more recognition is definitely very much to the fore between now and the end of the month. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well. So Pisces, this particular full moon is going to throw up over the next couple of weeks who you can connect well with, whether it's through shared values, whether it's to do with finance, whether it's even intimacy in a close relationship, and perhaps who you can't. But if you're lucky enough to be getting to know someone or working with someone collaboratively and it is going well and you bring different skills to the equation, look forward to some expansion as October goes on. If you've been in a long-term relationship and things have been going pretty well, one of the ways you can continue to keep that going is by being more spontaneous the more that October goes on. So that may mean doing things off the cuff, seeking more variety, even travelling somewhere, because this is a full moon which can be quite lucky for you. But I have to say the converse can be true if you're not enjoying a particular involvement, or for example you work somewhere where you don't feel you're rewarded properly, or your values are clashing with someone. I think the energy developing in Scorpio from now through to the end of the month can actually see you wanting to break free, not feeling attached to something. You'll want to seek your liberty. So it just depends on your unique circumstances. Now, if you're not involved with anyone personally at the moment, the full moon's asking you to make sure the ins and outgoings around your resources are working well, but with Jupiter, the planet of luck, in the part of your scope to do a speculation, I feel a little flutter might actually bring you a return. Now, my year 2026 forecasts are out. An astrological overview for us all, but also those individual forecasts. Please see the link below for more. Also, if you've yet to watch your October forecast, please see the link below for that too as well.